Hello, everyone, and welcome back to one of these fun interview episodes of the SWW show. I'm Mike, and today with me two special guests. Do you guys want to go one at a time, kind of introduce yourselves and the game we're here to talk about?
Hi, my name is Teriyakara.
Hi, my name is Rohan Tadiki.
And we're here to talk about, I guess, the season's collection spring. I guess to get us started, it could be either of you, since you guys both kind of work on the game a lot. What if someone asks, what is the season's collecting spring? How would you guys define the game?
Well, it is a brilliant first-person shooter game with a fabulous story to be foretold.
I love how you're like it's brilliant and it's fabulous. I like to get every important adjective to make sure that like people understand that you're very proud of the game. Where does it so looking at it, right? So what caught me attention, I think, kind of when I was looking at the games, is it's a very interesting world. I think from a color palette point of view, and kind of like what is going on here. What kind of is this world that we're kind of going to jump our way into while playing the game?
So what inspired us to start making this world is we obviously wanted to make a game and you have to start with the world. And I was listening to Four Seasons by Vivaldi, and in that it's a beautiful musical piece with four sections, each representing one season. And spring was all colorful and joy and this and that, right? So that's what inspired us to make the game. So obviously it's the seasons collection. So just like how Vivaldi starts his masterpiece with spring, we started our game with spring with a lot of color and occasional rainfall. And yes, this freshly bloomed flowers is the foundation of our world.
I appreciate so much that the game started by a piece of music. I feel like that's not, at least when you usually ask these kind of questions, I expect people to be like, oh, this film or this world. I find the idea that you guys were like, this piece of music really inspired the game. How do you go then from this abstract piece of music to like shooting aliens? Like that just seems like a very interesting jump to me.
Yeah. So basically, we took this idea of four seasons and how each season is completely different, right? And we obviously the upcoming age and teenagers are not that interested in classical music, so we surely took inspiration from it, right? But we thought of this idea of one season being completely different, and we modernized it into it's a video game at the end of the day, right? So it has to be fun. It has to like boost some adrenaline up, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's so like it makes some sense, but it's just I think just such an interesting jump from obviously a game which is art and gameplay and stuff to being like we started just there. I kind of want to jump into obviously Rohan. If at any point you feel like you have something to add to, feel free to jump in. Of kind of what seems so one of the big pushes you guys had when we were talking about it is it comes down a lot of like combat, and you talk about the guns and stuff and that. I'm kind of curious, kind of how would you guys describe this game from a gameplay point of view of like that combat you're doing? Obviously, you kind of walk around in FPS shooting enemies, but kind of like more beyond that.
Well, we wanted to go with like the classic FPS or first-person shooter combat style, something that brought you back to like, say, like the old Doom games, for example, where you've just got your like 2 to 3 basic weapons, right? And that's all you get. It's bare bones and it feels raw. That's what we wanted. So, the typical WASD to move around, 2 guns, classic rifle, and like a really powerful base-heavy shotgun that just makes you feel like you're in complete control. With these two things, we wanted it so you'd explore the forest with this, so you constantly feel like you're on edge, because obviously we're not going to let you just explore the forest by yourself. You're going to have people watching you all the time and coming after you, right?
So I'm curious. So I have the trailer kind of running in my second monitor right now. What is so on the trailer? There's this blue gun that's like shooting enemies and like stopping them in their tracks. What is that gun?
That started out as a grenade launcher, but it is now a more of a ricochet shotgun. So it's like a little buckshot, if you will, at close range. But if they are a little farther, you can like launch it off of trees or the floor, for example.
It's a shock. It's very interesting because like now you say that it's definitely a shotgun. Looking at it like corner of my eye, did not really. It
Mhm.
felt to me like an RPG or like you said grenade. Like it very much felt like that
Grenade
type.
launcher, yeah.
It felt like that type of power just because the amount of
Mhm.
AOE it looks like it hits.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming you guys had a lot of fun coming up with like what are these weapons to make sure they feel super powerful.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
very hard to get that balance right, especially because the rifle felt like a pea shooter for the first half of development.
That's the
Took
problem
a
with every
while to
rifle.
get that to feel nice.
Every people are always like making guns was the fun part of game development, and then you like go in there, you're like, why does every gun I use feel super weak and like not?
Right?
But that's when you learn. You're like, oh, that's why stuff like sound matters, or like the gun jumping.
Yeah.
Like people in their heads are like, oh, it's just bullet damage. It's like no. For a gun to feel heavy, it's like this absurd nonsense of like 50 things have to go right. So let's see. So
Yeah.
you always talk about we have a rifle, a shotgun. Is there any other weapons I'm missing that you guys have talked
For
about?
now, that's it. But I can guarantee you that even that's gonna feel like a bit overwhelming when you first hop in.
Wow. Okay, so we talked about the enemies a bit. So obviously, what I'm seeing is there's like some variations of like very alien-esque creatures kind of thing. You guys want to talk about that some more,
Mhm.
kind of how you face them?
Yeah, sure. So we have a few classes of enemies. So we have like a ranged enemy, which you might have seen. He's the black enemy. His name is Exodus. He actually shoots like little blue laser balls. Exodus is our insider name for him. We also have a melee, which you might have seen. We call him Zyorp. He's a little enemy that runs at you, a little alien. And then we have a tank enemy, which we haven't shown in that first teaser, as well as a sniper, which you'll see later on.
A sniper is one that's interesting because the rest of them have been kind of like these more closer combat guys or melee guys. The idea that you have a sniper in this kind of game is very interesting. It very much keeps that fast-paced motion that I think you guys were kind of aiming for. How so? Did you guys? We were talking. It very much feels to me, and correct me if I'm wrong. You guys kind of follow that like Doom 2016 mantra of if you stand still, you die.
Oh yeah.
Is that kind of what you guys are basing this off of?
Yep. Uh, Honestly, when you start playing it and you stand still, it's just a death sentence on the spot. That's the whole point because we want to push you to move around, look around at the map, explore, you know. So we can't have you standing in one spot.
So, at that moment, then I'm kind of curious. How do you guys talk about like the balance of the game? Like, how hard is too hard to you guys? Do you want this to be a game that anyone can pick up and play, or do you want it to personally be like we're aiming more closer to the Dark Souls level of players, where it's a little bit harder?
We want it to be similar to I don't know if you've heard the Mario developer and how he handles difficulty, but he said that the first few stages of the game should be easier, and as you progress throughout the game, it should get like considerably harder. That way, the player feels powerful throughout the story, or even though the game is getting harder and harder, and they feel it, but they enjoy that challenge throughout the game.
So I think to me that feels like an arcade game in a lot of ways, kind of is what that is going for. Do you guys have anything else that so what I'm kind of I think I'm still unclear on kind of as we're talking here, right? Is what is the sense of progression in the game? Is it like you guys just have X waves and then it's like an arcade and you hit the X wave marker? Is there more of a like here's a set endpoint in the game?
Actually,
Take it.
okay. Believe it or not, it's actually a wonderful story game, and that is the premise of the progression of it. Right? It's a big map, and as you go, if I can summarize the story, the player, you, Cyrus, a 20-year-old young adult, you wake up in a mysterious forest. All you know is you have to find your sister, Eva. Uh, and the story is told in quite an interesting way, and as you explore the forest, obviously we have barriers and whatnot that prevent you from going further, and you have to figure out how are you going to get ahead, right? And yes, so you have to problem solve, if you would like to call it. But the story is told in a very interesting way. Actually, the whole thing is a narration because both the brother and the sister can hear each other in their head, and basically the entire story is told through their thoughts.
Wow, that's a it's a I think it's a cool way to tell a story. And as we were talking about kind of development a hot minute ago, I could see very many problems pop in my head when you guys are trying to create this. So with that in mind, then kind of, do you feel that the players as they go through this will be? Do you think you're catering more towards the players who want a story and then there's combat, or are you catering more towards the players who want combat and then there's a story?
I think this is a thing for debate. I don't know what Rohan thinks, but I strongly believe that there is the story and the combat is a feature. And I think the story is the main part of the game.
In the middle of that, if possible. Right in the middle. And if we can do that balance right, just the whole game would be that much better.
So being in the middle of that, then kind of jumping on that, how do you kind of balance so there's two of you. You only have so much time kind of in the day. How do you balance then of like time in combat versus time in like world building a story then kind of to like make sure that balance is there?
Well, when we go through this, we always add the storylines, and then have that go around the combat, and then have like some other combat bits later on reflect the story. So that in that way we keep it balanced. So it's not one depending on the other; they're interdependent. So yeah.
That I think that
Explain that well.
I was gonna say that, no, I think that makes sense. It's a fun, but in a weird way, I can almost see a world, and maybe you guys experience an opposite, where getting the world to 90% and then getting the combat to 90%, I almost feel like getting the combat to 90% is easier than the world, but then the opposite's true of the final 10%. Because it's like, the combat, like, it's almost there, but then that combat you can spend forever tweaking. Where like, at a certain point, you're like, I broadly understand this world, at least I'm in.
Yeah, that's actually very well said. Like every time we like develop the game, and even if we're working on the story, we want to work on the combat a bit more, make it a bit more smoother. And every time we're working on the combat, we're like, oh my god, we need like world building a bit more. We need to get the player more engaged with the world, get the player more get the player more interested in the story. So it was always a big challenge to how to do this well. And the way we solve this issue is the story is only going to be told if a certain part of the combat is accomplished, if that makes sense. So if you can beat certain enemies at a certain spots, I don't want to give too much of the game away, but then only the story is going to be told. But then again, I can rephrase this as in order to learn more about the story, you will have to get diverse into the combat. And in order to get diverse into the story, you will have to know the combat. So it goes both the ways.
Once we go back onto the interdependence of each
Yeah.
other.
No, that is fair. So, as we kind of talk about, the game is the Seasons Collection Spring. Currently, your Steam release date is winter. Is that still kind of your target? Is this kind of up in the air now? What is this looking like?
It's a little up in the air. We're considering moving it back a month, because of just how much we need to bug test and stuff and go through it and make sure everything's 100%.
Obviously, the next question kind of jumps into saying, so this is, as we talk about spring, do you guys have plans then for what I assume would be summer next? Or kind of how does this kind of looking kind of in this metaphor as you guys talked about it?
So when I told Rohan about this idea I have about the 4 seasons, we were still we were so naive and so ambitious that we wanted this one game to be the seasons collection with you first do the spring, then you do the summer, moving to the fall, then winter.
All in one game.
All in one game. Then we didn't even know how to make games back then. So then I realized like there's a ridiculous amount of work and we are never going to finish it. And I was researching a lot in indie game development, and the number one reason why indie game developers fail is because they can't finish their game. And that is what we did not want to. So I wrote up the story for the Seasons collection, and then was a really wise decision to break everything apart and kind of independentize the story, but they're still kind of like a sequel. So let me explain it to you this way. So in spring, when Cyrus wakes up in the forest, the player, we try and give the player two promises. One's a short-term promise and another is a long-term promise. The long-term promise is you'll uncover the mystery of the forest. How can you just like wake up in like a jungle like that and you have a gun and you have a shotgun? What's going on, right? That we would like to be the core of the upcoming games. Summer is basically like the continuation of spring. But in the first game, we have just wanted to focus on the short-term promises that all you have to do is find your sister and protect her. And the game promises that you will be able to do it. And you'll do anything. You're basically not going to let anything come in the way to find and protect your sister, basically.
Very, very well said. So I'm gonna kind of push on a hair, but I assume the answer is TBD. Kind of. I assume you have no public timelines left, public timelines out yet for when that next game would be roughly coming out.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Once again, we have to see that if like the community, if we ever build one, are they liking the game in the first place, and are they liking the story in the first place, right? So if we have the community support that we aim for, then we'll take a week off, and this 8th day we'll start making summer.
Just like that.
Just like that. That sounds great. If you guys, so the game as we talked about was the Seasons Collection Spring. You can go find it on Steam right now to go wishlist it. Is there any other spot we should be sending people to go check out the game?
That and if you want more information about us, you can check out rdnagames.com. That's rdnagames.com.
And just a heads up, whatever you see on the Steam page right now is not the complete part of the game. It's not wrong, but it is incomplete. We have so much in development right now that you guys cannot even imagine.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you for taking time for your Saturday morning to come talk to me about the game. I look forward to seeing how the game comes out, whenever it actually comes out. Let's put it that way, put a giant asterisk on that winter release date that you have on Steam, because game development's fun. And thanks again for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, thanks.
This episode is partially brought to you by the Humble Choice Program. Did you know Humble Bundle has a great monthly subscription service that lets you get a ton of video games every single month? That's right, from plans range from $5 to $20 a month, you get a hold of a bunch of free games they have available to you. And you can use our code down in the description below to go and sign up. It would help our podcast and help you see what great games are available for you this month.
Hello everyone and welcome to an interview segment of the SWW show. It is me, AJ. I have got with me David and Yanni from My True Sound, of Kilta, who, like myself here in Michigan, are experiencing a snow drought, if you will, in Finland. And yeah, guys, how are you doing?
Oh, we are doing fine, at least me. Hi, everybody. So I'm David, and I'm the founder of this My True Sound. And yeah, hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. I'm Yanni, and I'm doing quite fine. And I'm basically the team leader of the developers of Kilta.
Cool. So this Kilta game is a auto battler, and it was interesting. You were talking to me before we started recording. This is very new for your young studio to be making a game like this.
Yes, it is. So our company is 3 years old, and we started creating games for the blind community. So my background was audio, and when I wanted to change that experience I had into the into gaming, then I thought, okay, let's find the blind fellows that want to come along and help us, and so we started to create games that were only based on audio. Eventually, we moved into visuals, and we created a game which for mobile devices called Audio Wizards. It got quite good critics. The feedback was very good from the blind community, but it didn't sell enough. And then we decided, okay, what's next? And we decided to start with this new project, Kilta. And from my perspective, there were two things that I asked the team when they created, and it's like it has to be new, it has to be something that has not been done like before, so it has some kind of added value for our target group, for the players in general. And the other premise was that, and we should be able to do it without within the budget we have. Like we are a very small team and really short of cash, and so that was the other thing. Like make something cool, something that will have a value, but also that it's doable, and that's how it started, Kilta.
Yeah, it's got to be
would you like?
it's got to be a unique challenge to go from making projects for not only a small market in general, but also a market that needs accessibility options that the vast majority of people don't need. So going from the mindset of making really anything for that market and then making a quote unquote large scale project had to be quite a change.
Yeah. Yanni, would you like to comment then how then Kilta started from the development point of view?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, definitely it was quite a challenge. The scale of our previous game, the Audio Wizards, the game that was mainly for the blind community. When you compare its scale to Kilta scale, there's a quite large gap between them, and I think Kilta definitely is also it's definitely also a different type of game, but I think from development standpoint, it's been way more fun to develop Kilta than it was Audio Wizards, because all of us developers, we are all fans of strategy games and these type of games that require actions and thinking. So Audio Wizards in comparison was maybe a little bit outside of our own preferences. So the Kilta definitely feels better to our tastes.
I gotta ask, because you mentioned that you have a stunning soundtrack for the game. Is there any Finnish death metal on this? Because that is like the one thing I know about Finnish music.
No, I think our musicist is Janne Kantola, very talented. He also made all the producing work in Audio Wizards, which had very nice soundtrack too. It was fully composed by blind people. We did a music competition, and we got like a bunch of people participating, and then Gianni made the final production. Then he also created the music for another project we canceled called Music Maze. And so he wanted to continue, and he did the music for Kilta, and I think it's very nice one. I even listen it while I'm working, while I'm just writing on the computers, some stuff, and I like it a lot. So, but no hard metal. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I'm sure, knowing the art style and kind of the setting of the game, that probably wouldn't fit in very well.
No.
We might add it to the list of to do things.
Add a DLC pack, just Finnish death metal for the soundtrack, and it doesn't fit at all. But guess what? It's DLC, so it doesn't have. But yeah, so it's this game is, if we haven't fully described it yet, it's, as you say, a strategy game with an auto battler in it. Is the story that you have in this game, is it pulling from any of your I guess Scandinavian or Norse or whatever like mythologies and storytelling? Like, I know that's a huge thing for a lot of people from that area.
Okay. Yeah, go, Yanni. You are the guy to answer this.
Yeah, so maybe a little. I think when people think about Norse mythology or these things from the northern Europe, they always mostly think about specifically the mythology of Vikings, but Finnish people weren't Vikings. They had a little bit different mythology. So I think not many games have utilized that potential in there, and I think Kilta doesn't have it that much either. Some names are Finnish based. For example, the game itself is called Kilta, which means guild in Finnish. Very original. But otherwise, I think the game story and like mythos is more based around ideas from all over the world. Mostly perhaps the European gods and names such as from the southern Europe. So actually, I don't think there's that much Finnish or Norse influence in there.
It's actually pretty cool, because while it's you talk about, when people think Norse or Scandinavian, they think of Vikings, and they think of Thor. They think of Thor and Loki from Avengers, and some of my family is from Norway, and it's interesting to, when they hear that, they're like, oh, Thor and Loki and all that. I'm like, no, like, they're two of, like, the story is so much cooler than just those two. So it's that base of those stories can really lift up. You could have a basic story, but then throw the mythos, as you said, of any religion, right, of any of these storytelling groups, and it just bolsters that so much more than just, oh, character A and character B. So it's pretty cool that you guys use, well, maybe not the names that you maybe not necessarily grew up with, but the people in the Finnish. I know it's not always been the size of the country that it is, but that area, right? Their stories that they grew up with from their grandfathers. It's cool that you guys kind of still kept that idea of using mythology and mythos to help build the story.
Yeah. There is also one thing that I think is very interesting about the stories we try to tell in the game. And it is not only about fantastic adventures, or like, oh, I fight against 300 dragons or things like that. It is also about the stories and the problems of the heroes. So let's say that each hero has a particularity. So it might be somebody who is loyal, or it might be somebody who is poor, or somebody who is evil in behind, or very selfish. and so that's also the stories that we try to create, the stories that are talk about humankind, although we use heroes that not necessarily exist, but go a little bit into not just telling facts and telling like amazing things, but also like real life problems. And we try to find in there that the people actually can identify themselves with some of those particularities of those heroes. It's one of the things also we try to focus, and I think on the next updates we are going to bring like many nice things about all that. For sure, mixed with interesting like events, fantastic based, but also this thing about the real life problems. It's one of the things we want to touch there. Am I right, Yanni, or how would you comment that?
Yeah. So just what David said is that we want to, when it comes to the story and the characters, we wanted to avoid this power fantasy type of storytelling, that the characters are all powerful one man armies. We wanted them to feel more like natural, more relatable. So every character has something more beneath their characters and nature than at first seems to be. It seems to player, and while it might not yet be fully implemented in Kilta's current version, it's definitely something that we want to bring out in the future updates, that the player can really experience also these personal problems and feelings that these characters have in there.
Isn't it amazing that a small studio can make better developed characters than billion-dollar studios?
Wow, thank you.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking of like you saying that, you know, they're more than surface level. I'm thinking back and I'm going, man, there's a lot of games out there from big developers that you could consider their characters to just be surface level, and they probably spent a couple $1 million on the character study for this person. And it's like, you know, sometimes, as you say, when you work with what you've got, you can actually get more out of what you have just by focusing on, okay, well, maybe we're not going to have, you know, the flashiest graphics or voice actors or things like that. We're going to focus on the story and the combat, and
yeah,
you know, you can make something like this.
There are two things that I think have kind of affecting there. One, it is that the game also has this management compound. So the player needs to manage the heroes and also avoid that they die or that get tired. And we wanted to bring this empathical relationship. We wanted the player to really get close to the characters. So then the management was in a way like more, you will have to do it with more care because you didn't want your heroes to suffer in the battlefield. Imagine it's not the case, but imagine one hero is the father of two kids. And, you know, if it dies, it might not go back to his village to take care of the kids. And so we wanted to create this kind of empathic relationship. The other thing, it actually was when we were trying to find a publisher for the game, we were pitching to many publishing companies, and there was one company from Germany that actually said very clear to us, and we fully agree with them. They said, if you tell me what I prefer, Lord of the Rings or Alice in Wonderland, I will choose Alice in Wonderland because there are all those insecurities and what is life and how the things go. It's much more interesting stories. for them, for this company, than telling about dragons and superheroes and wizards and stuff like that, which is also a lot of fun for sure. But we wanted to go into that aspect of the empathy and how you feel when you relate to those people. So yeah, we are trying to build that. And then for sure is, as you said, our resources are smaller, so we need to save a little bit from the graphics and perhaps going more into the nice detail or special characteristics, something that makes us different or makes this Kilta a little bit different than other existing games.
Cool. So Kilta is out on. Is it just on Steam or is it on other platforms?
It's also on itch.io,
Okay.
but the shop is not. It's currently not working. We haven't yet received like approval from the itch.io to sell only the product keys. So at the moment, it's currently unavailable, but it should be available in the future.
Cool. So you can find it on Steam or itch in the near future. Yeah, guys, it's been really fun talking to you. I am really looking forward to seeing how this game develops and evolves into its true potential. Full potential is the wrong word, because full potential would be what you made right now and would be slighting what you made. So true potential, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I hope. If you want, I might comment that we decided to launch the game on early access in Steam, so that we will be able to interact with the players and get their valuable feedback, and also, so that we could twitch better and improve the game in the line. So we thought we have a nice concept, but it was a must to go into early access and start to get a kind of a feedback and traction about what the people think. We have created our own Discord channel. You can find it in the net, we are basically in all the social medias, like in YouTube, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, and our own website, also in DDB and in itch and in Steam. We are actually very active in all those. So it's quite easy to interact with us. And that's what we want now, people to come and jump into the development process and help us to take the game there where it needs to be. We have a lot of energy, and we would like to open the doors also to those people that are also interested in this type of games. So yeah, I hope the creative process keeps going on, and through the following updates, we reach to that point where at final launch, after 5 months perhaps, then we have a very solid game. So we really invite everybody to join us on that process.
Well, and it's not a difficult join. It's currently $13 here in the States. So that is 2.5 visits to Starbucks, or one DoorDash order. So either make your food at home or don't go to Starbucks for 2.5 days, and there you
go. Yeah. Well, that's a hard thing for some people. Coffee is like sacred. Like the cup of coffee of Starbucks. I remember when I was in San Francisco last year, I was surprised about how many cups of Starbucks I could see on the streets. But yeah, it is a fact for sure. The game is missing still like more hours of play, but actually it's coming through the next updates, and that's the cool thing of joining now, that you actually can see that development process. And we know that some people prefers that indie level. Sure, like new games like Last of Us Part 2 or Cyberpunk or whatever, they are super cool, and there is a huge market in there. But also we know that some indie players want to be with indie developers and actually be a part of this process. And so, well, our doors are super open.
Well, that's good to hear. physical doors here in the U.S. may not be able to be open, but the digital doors to Finland are. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining me for this interview, and I'm looking forward to watching the development process. Again, I should know English better. It's my first language. I barely know German, and I still don't know the right word. The development journey of this game moving forward.
Yeah. Well, thanks you, AJ, for inviting us. This is very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special interview on the SWW show. It's me, AJ. Mike's not here. Although Marie is here, so I'll trade one M for another. Marie, behind the game Sep's Diner, a VR cooking game, which I feel like there's suddenly an explosion of. I feel like the last interview I did was a VR cooking game. And in that, I was like, I haven't really seen many of these. And now all of a sudden, I guess I spoke too soon.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think we just like this kind of game. Like, you can have it on other platforms, not VR. And we thought, well, that would be really great on VR. If you can have something like, I don't know if you know Overcooked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we thought about that, and it's like, wow, in multiplayer with your friends in VR could be really, really fun. So we just launched ourselves. At first, it was made for location-based entertainment. I don't know if you know about that, but since the COVID, I don't know how you say that in English, but
it's COVID anywhere.
COVID, yeah. Well, since that and the global lockdown, it was really hard to get our game in location-based entertainment facilities. So we decided it was time to make a solo game, and this one was our favorite.
Yeah, I feel like this idea, the VR Overcooked, I guess is the easiest way to describe what Sep's Diner is. Like, that just lends itself perfectly to, multiple people, not necessarily in the same physical room, but close together. I have been to a couple places that do the VR, like, multiplayer thing, and you're in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
I have always, even going in, I said this is going to be a huge mistake. Sure enough, at least 4 of the people I was with ran into each other.
Yeah.
So
I can see that, but we do have a version of that game for location-based entertainment, and since we all have the avatars, it's easy to see where you are and where everyone is, and it's pretty accurate. Like, you can easily touch someone just by moving your VR hand to him, and then you can feel it in the physical world because he's here actually. And it works well if the VR Guardian for Oculus Quest, for example, the Guardian is well done for each headset. In that case, it works pretty well. But, solo gaming is also really fun.
Yeah. And plus, like, you mentioned Overcooked. Like, I feel like cooking games in general are just the perfect stress game. Like, it's a different stress when you're playing, like, Counter-Strike and you need to clutch out a round. This is like, okay, I am spinning 15 different plates trying to get everything out at the right time and make sure this doesn't burn, or make sure this is cooked through, or make sure this is in the right order.
Yeah.
And taking that, and VR is like the ultimate, I hate to say cheap way to do it, but it's the cheap way of kind of ramping up that stress. Because when you limit your view to just whatever you can see, at least with Overcooked, you can see all the different meters going around. So you can kind of keep track of where everything is. Whereas in VR, you could have something behind you cooking, and if you forget that, you're like, oh, well, now my room's on fire because that overcooked, and now it's burst into flame.
Exactly. But that makes the cooking more realistic. Like if you're in a real kitchen, you have to watch over your back all the time because you don't know if what you've been doing on one side of the kitchen is still okay for now. It's not burning or anything. So I think it's more fun. Like it's funnier. And especially in multiplayer, you can really have some fun when like you're with your friend doing something. You let I don't know a patty burn, and all of a sudden your friend says to you, "Uh-oh, watch over your back! Your patty is burning."
So yeah, I mean it's as you say, the multiplayer idea of being able to mess with your other player. It's fun. Like that was when I first played. Oh man, what one of these? Take your pick. Whether it was Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes, Overcooked, any of those. The first thing I did was I just screwed with whoever I was playing with because I thought it was funny.
I can see that. Well, I think it's it's kind of the same thing. Like it's stressful, and you can mess around with your friends, even though you're playing with them and not against them. And if you want, you can also be really serious about it and try to make it the quickest you can, or make the highest price you can. The highest score, and it's I think this kind of game are pretty fun with play with friends. That's why we launched it for solo mode for now, but we plan on having a multiplayer on the first trimester of next year, and you will be able to play with your friends and maybe mess around if you want, or maybe trying to help as much as you can. I don't know, depending on your friends.
Yeah, I have a feeling if Mike and I were to play this together, one of us would be messing with the other person the entire time.
I can imagine.
Therefore, nothing would he and I would be the worst. Probably the two worst people that I can think of to
play with.
Well, to play with, but not only that, but to open a physical restaurant, because nothing would get done.
Oh yeah.
No food would ever be made, or if it was made, it would be the just completely wrong thing.
I can see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not like that, but I can totally see what you mean. Like, I think in Overcooked, I always try to be at each point at the same time, and it's not possible. So, it will become I will burn something on one side and not get the dishes done on the other side, while I'm trying my best, but no, I cannot. So that's the same thing with Seb's Diner, I think. But since I'm the tester of that game, the quality, I'm the QA for this game, so I'm trying my best to have the best score possible. That's for maybe later adding some, try to beat the developer score. I don't know if you know this kind of things that's sometimes that's made in video games. You can have a success trophy for beating the best score. So I'm trying to beat that best score you have to beat.
Yeah, I'm sure if they're anything like some of the developers I've talked to that have those beat the dev score trophies, hopefully they were nice about it, because a couple of them that I've talked to that had that in their game, they're like, yeah, I just took a random run and I didn't exploit the game like I know how to, so it's a feasible score to beat. A couple others were like, no, I just made it so nobody will ever get that, because like I did everything.
Well, actually, since the orders the customers make are random, you can totally have a different score on one level if you replay it. So
that's cool.
I don't have any cheat code. I just play it. That's it. So if you're better than me, if you're quicker than me, so you deserve to have the dev score trophy success. I don't know.
Now it's interesting to me that somebody from France, not I know you're at least in the time zone.
I am from France. We are actually Scale One Portal. We all are.
It's interesting that you go for I would say typically American restaurant when you have, I mean,
really rich gastronomy.
France is known for its gastronomic history and style and things like that, whereas American food is just kind of like, eh. I mean, I'm the first to admit it. Like, American food is just, we just took a bunch of stuff and threw it together, and there you go.
Yeah, but I think it's the funniest way to do this kind of stuff. Like doing a burger, it's really fun because you can stack as many patties as you want and have the highest burger. We've been to the US several times, and I think some of my colleagues have eaten. I don't know. At a restaurant that's called like the Heart Attack.
Oh, Heart Attack Grill in Las Vegas?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. So I think maybe it's that made us choose burgers, but we will have many more, and I don't think we'll have something like French food because it's really hard to modelize, to make in 3D, and I think French food is complicated. For example, I don't cook. I don't cook actually. Just I know how to cook, but I don't like to cook. So something as easy as a burger is perfect for me because you don't have that much to do.
Yeah, everybody can do it.
Yeah, that's it. You just have to stack the ingredients in the right order, and well, that's it. Yeah. But we intend to make some more restaurants, and then the one coming next is a dessert restaurant, like with waffles and pancakes and donuts and everything. So it's still pretty American.
Yeah, that one's going to be dangerous for me if that place truly existed. That's my even though I rarely eat breakfast food is some of my favorite. Just I could go in and just devour I don't know how many pancakes or a bunch of waffles.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm also a sugar person more than a salted. Yeah, I don't know if that make any sense in American, but we can say that in French. Like I like sugar more than I like salted food. I'm more a dessert person.
Yeah, well, in the States, you just get sugar on everything. So
Yeah, that's right.
sugar, cheese, and some form of saturated fat is in it.
Yeah, I know. I've been there. I think I took like I don't know how many pounds while I was there, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Everything is so fat and sugary.
Yeah. Well, even traveling through the U.S., I mean, where I'm at in the Midwest, we're known for kind of heartier dishes because it gets cold, so it's a lot of bigger like hot dishes like casseroles and things like that, or pizzas, or kind of not super healthy food. But
yeah.
I can go to any region of the U.S. and be like, okay, we're gonna have crab cakes on the East Coast, or we're gonna have barbecue in Texas, or we're gonna have fish tacos in California. Like every region has their thing.
Yeah.
And there's always a version of that thing that is the worst possible thing for you.
Yeah, of course.
Because when it comes down to it, everybody wants the fish taco that's deep fried twice and covered in whatever. And because you want to say that you did it.
Also, somehow sometimes it tastes better. Like it's the fat and the sugar. It's sweet in your mouth. You like it.
Yeah, there's
your body may not like it as much as your mouth, but you like it. So I think that was all our love for food, and maybe for fast food, and I guess that's that too. Like when you're making like this kind of game of cooking game, you want to make some quick dishes. That way you will have much more customers. I don't know if that makes sense, but in Overcooked you always have like 3 ingredients or something like that, and then you serve it, and that's it. Because it's supposed to be fast food. That way you will have to serve more and more and more and more customers. So we chose the burgers, and after that there will be desserts, or maybe sushis, or anything that's simple to do and quick enough to have as many customers as we can get.
It's funny that you mention you not wanting to cook but knowing how to cook. When I talked to the guy behind the Cook Serve Delicious games, he's the same way, so don't worry, you're not the only one making a food game that kind of knows how to cook but doesn't know how to cook everything in their game. Because there were several dishes that I asked him, like, there's no way you know how to do this, and he goes, nope, I looked it up, figured out what it was made out of.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly it. For me, like, I don't cook, but I often help my husband cooking. So when he cooks, I'm with him, and I maybe sometimes, like, it's like I'm the assistant, the cooking assistant. I will I cut the ingredients or anything, but he will do the rest with it. and so I see how it's done.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do it, but I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I do more desserts like lemon pie, cookies, something like that. So maybe the next game will be more my jam.
Yeah.
The next levels, the next restaurant. I mean,
Sweets and treats.
that's it.
All right. Well, Marie, thank you very much for talking about Sep's Diner. I had fun with it. I got a chance to play it last night.
Yeah.
And it was definitely the feeling I remember of hectic cooking game, and then you throw it in VR, and then it makes it worse because I'm not.
But
I don't have anxiety issues unless it's timer based stuff. Of like, okay.
Yeah, but that's why we also had in the next update that will come soonish on Steam. I don't know exactly when. For now, we wait a bit, but in the next update we had a relaxed mode in which you have to just serve the customers, but you have all the time in the world to do it. You just have to get a certain amount of money to win the level. So for the people with anxiety issues, it will be less stressful, a lot less stressful, and it's new levels for just chill out, you know.
Well, I'll definitely have to try out that update when it comes out. But Sep's Diner, as you said, was on Side Quest.
Steam, yeah, and Side Quest for Oculus Quest gamers.
And then it's on Steam for, I guess everybody, right? It's Vive. The Rift can run through Steam
Valve
as well.
Index. Oculus Rift, everything. Even the Quest with the link.
Yeah.
Could work with the Steam version. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you guys can check out Sep's Diner on Steam or SideQuest.
This podcast was a production of the SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at the SWW Show. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeaboard. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.